But one thing that almost is shocking is the amount of free agents that the Dallas Cowboys have coming up. 2 restricted free agents and 22 UFAs.
That's crazy.
Our defensive line, linebackers, and cornerbacks. Now, not every guy I guess you would want to bring back, but when you look at those are still holes that need to be filled on this defense.
You just quickly even just glance over those names. They all put in a very big percentage of playing time this year. They really did. You look at the defensive line, I'd say 60% of them. DeMarcus Lawrence obviously hurt, but he was a starter.
Yeah.
Carl Lawson ended up coming in and doing pretty well as like a guy that shouldn't even have been on the starting date game roster. Osa Odigizua priced himself out of Dallas with a great season. And then even like Linval Joseph, who's an older dude, but stepped in and played decent because everyone else was hurt. So you even just look at the defensive line and it's kind of a microcosm of the whole team. There's just depth and starters all mixed in that are all going to be unrestricted free agents. And you're probably only going to be able to keep one of the 3 guys that you want.
If they, want to come back and don't decide to go elsewhere.
If they don't decide to go to the Commanders.
Yeah. I'll quickly go up to our offensive, which is a little less scary, I guess. Still got some key guys on the O-line. Obviously, Zach Martin's getting a little long in the tooth. Cooks, I don't know, he's probably really a fence sitter or like a 50-50 if you want to bring him back or not. But again, just because it's a position to fill. And
Cooks
then
is cooked.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'd like to move on from him for sure. And then Rico Dowdle, who I think you got to try to run it back with him out of everyone on this list. Quarterbacks, I believe you can go and find someone who can replace Lance and Rush. Maybe not Lance. It's the contract. That's what I'm talking about. So maybe Lance gets out into free agency. There's an opportunity to bring him back. And, I wouldn't be actually against that.
You just don't want to sign a big contract with him.
You couldn't take him on the contract that he had. It's like a $20 million contract.
If he can sign for anywhere between, $7 and $8 million, maybe. Even Cooper Rush. I think Cooper Rush has proven that he can be a backup quarterback for a team that, may be able to give him a chance, if the QB1 is a little shaky. So I think he might finally leave Dallas.
Yeah.
And explore other opportunities. Well, what do you guys think that Rico Dowdle will be able to get on the open market? You think he's worth more than $5 million a year?
I think on an open market, possibly. Do I think he's worth it? Yeah, I do. I mean, he showed last year that he could be a capable running back in the NFL. He doesn't have that big burst playability, but the guy just does not ever lose yards. It always seems like he's always moving forward. He's good in the passing game when he had opportunities. So I do think a team will pay him over $5 million, but I don't think it's going to be Dallas, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
If I'm the Cowboys and I plan on using one of my top 3 picks on a running back being like, if it gets down to it on our 3rd round pick and we haven't taken a running back, we're taking the next best running back on the board. If that's the mentality, I would be willing to pay a little bit more for Rico over a 3-year contract because I can kind of offset that with the rookie and say, okay, I'm not paying as much right now. That being said, I think Rico Dowdle could probably get like a $6.5 million per year from a team who saw what he did and want to add that to him. I don't know that he would go for it. And I think $5 million is probably a good a good average for him. I try to do a 3-year deal with him just so you have that, have those couple years with him in the rookie and see who does better. If the rookie doesn't pan out, okay. Also, free agency is there too for another running back that could help out. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on Rico. I would have him high on my list for who the Cowboys should bring back.
Do you think that do you think that if they don't re-sign him before the draft, that we're going to be looking for multiple running backs this draft class?
He'll be signed if the Cowboys don't go after him, I think.
Yep.
For sure.
Oh, totally. He ain't making it. he ain't making it on the free agent market by draft in my mind. And it might not be the Dallas Cowboys, but there's a lot of teams out there with a lot of money to float around.
Hey,
and I know I talked about the Commanders before. The Commanders have a lot of money. Austin Eckler is old as balls. You could see the Commanders taking a fucking push at him.
I think the Giants as well. The Giants might take a look at him as well.
Yeah, the Giants. Giants need to rebuild their entire team.
Yeah, Dowdle will be 27 entering next season, so you get 3 years out of him on any contract you sign with him. And he had his best season last year, and he's not had a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't get many touchdowns, obviously his yardage, his production was good for when you kind of look at the tail of the tape. So there's a big possibility that a team, if he does hit free agency, a team could get him for a bargain deal, or they sign, like Ant was saying, the teams out there that have that cap space might just say, let's give him the money because we think, we'll give him a 3-year contract for X $1 million and he comes out on top, right? Hopefully Dallas does keep him. I think having him as a running back and then picking up a very solid back, whether or not it's Gianti or Trayvon Henderson or, one of the other 10 other running backs that we should be gunning for if one of those guys aren't available, you know what I mean? So I think I'm a big fan of keeping Rico Dowdle as well. I think he should be a re-signing. It's just how much money is he going to want? Obviously, he might take a little bit less because it's in Dallas. It's a team-friendly deal if they sign him for 3 years, 4 years.
But either way, re-sign Rico or not, you have to draft a running back. Even if you re-sign him, I think we're all in agreement that you still have to sign a running back. This draft class is pretty loaded with running backs, and the Cowboys whiffed last year in the draft by not getting a running back. There was a bunch of good running backs last year, and did Dallas learn from it? I don't know. We'll see. And either way, with or without Rico, we need a running back.
You learned from the 49ers that depth at your running back position is very, very important.
Oh yeah, it seemed like anyone that lined up at halfback for them was just bumping out yards.
Yeah,
because they kept drafting guys no matter what every year. Barry, in the last 5 years, the only Dallas Cowboys running back drafted has been Deuce Vaughn.
Wow,
that's ridiculous.
That is amazing.
It's gross.
Our boy,
amazing.
Our boy EJ Savage of Boys in the Zone, fellow grid member, says, "I'd rather double dip on a running back. Also, the UDFA running backs will have draftable grades this year as well."
And you kind of said that. You kind of said that too.
Thank you.
Yeah, like whether you draft one or you sign them as undrafted free agents, like you have to get some depth. They have to get some guys that can be able to, really have some potential to be starters or contributors during the season, not just flyers. There's always good running backs out there, and you always have to dip into the pool. And for whatever reason, the Cowboys haven't done that. I don't get it.
Just looking at the amount of free agents and doing a lot of assuming, they're not going to be able to sign, even if they sign 50% on offense, 50% on defense, there's going to be a lot more holes to fill on D. My mind starts to wander with EJ's comment being like, okay, well, maybe just supersize the offense this year, knowing we might have an 8-9 season if we're lucky.
Yep.
6-10, or whatever, 7-10. Sorry. And then next season, going after those defensive holes, get a running back and then get a UDFA running back too if he's available, and let's just see which cream rises to the top.
Yep.
And then go with a wide receiver early on as well. They're sexy picks, so that's going to satisfy a lot of people's itch. But I also think it's at least you can kind of really say, okay, now we've got an offense, or you'll know what you get from those guys, and if they're good enough to move forward, and then focus on defense. So do you have a 50% effort for defense this year, 50% next year, but go all in on offense when it makes the most sense?
Right.
Even if it doesn't make the most sense.
Well, if you're looking, it does make sense, because if you look at the Cowboys roster, and I know a lot of people are going to be kind of swayed or polarized when I say this, but your superstars are on offense. I don't care what anyone says. Dak Prescott is a big name and is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Those are hard to come by. CeeDee Lamb was still a top 5 wide receiver this season, and he had no place being a top 5 wide receiver. So you still have a couple weapons there. Bring in, say, like AJ had mentioned, a top wide receiver and a top running back, and then maybe another tackle or a guard to throw in the mix, and just try to spearhead the offense. And if we're gonna lose, let's at least lose excitingly.
Let's have, if we're down by whatever 19 in the fourth, at least we can get some big plays. Look at what Xavier, now obviously I know he's on the Kansas City Chiefs, but Xavier Worthy, what round did he go in? It was late, like fourth or fifth.
One. No, he was round one. He was round one.
Shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
first round.
Well, that is
fastest man on the planet, late round one.
He went late in the first round because he was taken by the Chiefs, but he was a first round pick.
Right, but still, my point was going to be that I think that people passed on him, but I guess 31 other teams did. But the more important point was he's just an electric player, a difference maker. The things that he can do out on the field that no one else can do. If we can get a dude like that, or just a CeeDee Lamb too, would be nice too. And I hear that comparison to the Ibuka or Igboka.
No, you're right on the first one, Ibuka.
Yeah, I think AJ is onto something. I think the Cowboys, they need to start going after electric offensive players, guys that are fast, guys that can be able to, get the ball in space and see if things happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where the game is going. You don't want any plotting wide receivers. You don't want a guy, he's 6'4". Like, I don't give a shit about that. Like, get a guy that can be able to create something on a curl around, end route, or whatever it is, and get it on a screen and make something happen. Like, get some fast guys that can be able to be creative, where you can be able to have a multifaceted, multi-dynamic style offense.
Yeah, Brent Packer guy says the Cowboys have a lot of offensive talent. What y'all don't have is a mean O-line. It doesn't matter what wide receiver, running back you have. If you can't pass block for crap and your running back has no holes to exploit.
That's true.
And then the other name, because we talked about running back and wide receiver going into this draft, Ultra Cowboy keeps bringing up Tyler Warren. Ultra Cowboy's a tight end himself.
Oh, yeah.
But former tight end, Ultra Cowboy is how I'm going to start to refer him as. We like Tyler Warren. What would you guys think if we drafted a tight end? I mean, still an offensive weapon. He can still block on the line if you need him to.
I guess to answer that, I would just say I would prefer to get both if you can.
Yeah.
But just a game changer or electric receiver, that could be a tight end too. And maybe that's a Tyler Warren type guy. I'm not sold on our tight end group. I think everyone is adequate enough to play in the NFL. But are we waiting another season for Ferguson to step up and go? Like,
no. I mean,
I think 12's. I think 12's too high to draft a tight end.
I wasn't thinking first round for tight end. No.
If you could trade back, say to like 17, and get Ty Warren, and then pick up like a decent pick in the early third or late second. Well, we got a lot of holes to fill, right? Like we're an OnlyFans chick. We need to get as many of these draft picks as possible. So I would rather that, like trading back and getting Ty Warren, than outright straight taking him at 12, because there's just, in my mind, at 12, there's going to be multiple electric wide receivers. There's going to be good defensive players. There's going to be there's going to be difference makers.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the fact of the matter. At 12, look at the last time the Cowboys picked around this. They drafted Micah Parsons. There's going to be talented players at that point. I don't know if I want to get a tight end at that spot, if that makes any sense. I want speed. I want someone that's, their measurables are off the charts, kind of like we were just discussing.
But I do think we all agree, though, an elite tight end, if you could, lucky enough to fast forward the year and see how everyone pans out, that would help any football team. So we wouldn't be upset with that. But I agree. I am also not against the trade back if that's the way to go too. If you can pick up another second round pick with a trade back and only maybe go back to late teens, 17, 18, 19, I'd be into that, really into that.
Yep. I put up Ant's laughing at the comment I put up for Brent from Brent Packer guy.
What?
OnlyFans question mark? Is that why Anth is at a hotel with allegedly a bad connection? Let me look. Cowboy Anth only feet.
It's disgusting.
So
guilty.
So
it should be Cowboy and Hobbit feet.
Ultra Cowboy says, and I'm glizzing Ultra Cowboy
You
right
are.
now. Man,
away.
Hey, he's been gone for a while.
He
We
goes-
haven't had an ultra run in for a bit.
and I do like what he's saying here. Man, why couldn't Brock Bowers come out this year? Brock went 13th last year. He's a stud. He put up 1,000 yards, all pro, and he had a booty quarterback throwing to him. So, and he was
that's
saying,
true.
You
He
get
makes a good point.
You get a generational guy like Brock Bowers. Everybody knew that Brock Bowers was going to step into the NFL and be special.
Yep.
You know, is there that guy this year where you know that he's guaranteed going to be special like that? Now at the tight end position, I don't think that it's going to be an immediate impact guy like a Brock Bowers. So because of that, if you are going to reach for a tight end, it's not this year. So if you want one, it would be better to just trade back so you can be able to get more assets.
I do think that Warren's gonna go fourth round, but like he said, it's probably gonna be 17 to 20 in that kind of area. Like he probably will go late first round, but he'll get nabbed up. I bet you. I do see him having a very solid season. I wouldn't be mad.
He'll fall to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Travis Kelce replacement. You know what?
Greg's already there.
Yo, listen, don't wish that on us.
I know.
Please.
Yeah, right.
Don't do that shit.
Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey is already at the Chiefs, though, Anthony. I mean, they might.
That's true.
Just last point here on tight ends. Oscar Porini says, I don't know what that is.
Ultra. I've been saying for
Ultra.
2 years about tight end
I
situation.
thought that was Ulula.
Ulre. I've been saying Ulre. So tight end situation. Look at Brady with Gronk and Mahomes with Kelsey. They never had great wide receivers except for the year he had Moss.
Now, very true. But the only thing I want to say is, Gronk and Mahomes, Gronk and Kelsey are on a bit of a different tier than I think
90%,
99% of.
Those are generational tight ends.
Those are top 5 tight ends of arguably of all time. Those two, really. If you look at if you break down stats and Super Bowls, those guys are. If you're making the why can't I think of the stupid face Cliff?
Get those feet out. Get those feet out of your face, Anth.
If you're thinking of the Rushmore,
Ant's painting his toes right now, and he's just like got sidetracked.
Well, it was funny because in post in pre-game when we're trying to get this fucking technical bullshit, Ant's changing cameras and it got frozen on this like upshot of him, and it looked like I was from a tow cam.
You do not want to see this.
You don't want to see this.
There's Turpin and Marquise Bell, restricted free agents.
Are you keeping Turpin?
Well, that's the question.
Yes.
Out of both of those, Turpin, you definitely want him back. You keep bringing him back until his legs fail him, and that's
totally.
That's the truth. Like his weapon is his speed. The other nice thing though is that we saw him a little bit more doing some fun stuff with Dallas. Of course, it wasn't too often, but I'd like to see. Look, if he's gonna take up a roster spot, get him in the game more often. Then even if he's not going to be utilized, just so when you do utilize him, you trick the defense a little bit more, if that's the point of doing these trick plays with him. So,
well, and not even that though, AJ. Like 2 of the most exciting plays this year were Turpin plays. The play of him, the spin move against Washington on a kickoff return to bring it to the house to essentially win the game. Like that was one of the most memorable moments of a very unmemorable season.
We wrote an entire song for him that you can still get post-holiday season on Cowboys CanFan Spotify.
True that.
It's for Christmas. And finally, the exclusive rights free agent.
Brock Hoffman would like to get him back. I'll tell you that much.
Hoffman could be that dog. Do I think he's the answer? No, but you
good energy. That's that meanness that we want from him.
Exactly. If you can, and I'm not saying he's a Martin replacement, but if Martin is not coming back and Hoffman can plug that hole for another season and do it well enough, even if not, I think you bring him back. But at least he can fill that void, and he might turn out to be some guy who, shoot, you re-sign again after this season if he can pull it off.
Listen, we have holes to fill.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's worth giving a shot.
I like that
Throw
Barry.
as many
I like
darts,
that Barry's still saying.
darts at the board as you can.
I like that Barry's still saying we. I appreciate that.
Hey,
I appreciate that, Barry.
I support the Cowboys, baby. I just can't stay. Just can't stay.
This is a safe spot for Barry. He can say we
Facts.
about the Cowboys all day.
And those who are like, oh yeah, what? You're saying we? Except for us, we'll say it to you though.
I can come in here and cheat on my team all day.
Yeah.
Nobody will notice.
Yeah, this is your we're your mistress zone.